welcome to the program and welcome to the new year. Hope it's off to a great frosty start for you. A new year brings a new Congress and a new presidential administration as Donald Trump returns to the Oval Office. Republicans gained control of the U.S. Senate and clung to their slim margin in the House of Representatives. Those developments led to some changes in leadership, and Arkansas will certainly be a big beneficiary. Washington, D.C. consultant Brad Howard, who formerly worked for Congressman Mike Ross, join me to discuss how Arkansas may make out. Well, Brad, let's begin with Arkansas's got some outsized influence in Washington, D.C. in this new Congress that's coming up. Let's begin with Senator John Boozman. You've actually written a very nice guest commentary on our website about him. He is the new agriculture chair in the U.S. Senate of that committee, replacing from a long time ago, the person he beat.
I know.
So talk to me about how influential it's going to be to have Senator Boozman in charge of ag policy.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks, Roby, for having me on. Love your program and love your coverage. When you introduced me as working for Mike Ross, I wanted to say, and also John Boozman, because my very first exposure in Arkansas politics was as an intern for John Boozman in the Fort Smith, Arkansas office. I'm from Van Buren, and was there right after 9/11, opening the mail with a gas mask and in a secure container because the unpaid interns were the ones going to open the mail after the anthrax scare.
Nice.
But the memory I have of Senator Boozman was driving to Altus. They let me drive a sitting congressman by myself, which I thought was a pretty big deal at the time. And I remember the whole journey. And he was newly elected congressman then. This was 2002. Asking me questions not about politics or about where I stand on the issues, but about me, who I was, my family, where I was going to school, all kinds of good questions. And you got 2 hours alone with the congressman at 18 years old. I've never forgotten that moment. And even though I later went on to lead the campaign against his opponent briefly when he was running for re-election in the Senate, I've had nothing but incredible respect for the senator. He represents all that's good about public service. He's a compassionate leader, but he's a thoughtful legislator, and he listens. And that is why he will be a great Senate agricultural chairman. I'm a Democrat, very partisan Democrat at that. But I love my home state, and I have a lot of respect for John Boozman. And the fact that he is a good listener. In fact, his team jokes that the toughest thing they have to do with him is to get him to end the meeting. I remember my parents caused him to go over 30 minutes, and the chief was not very happy with me. So he doesn't rush along. He's a very deliberate person, and he knows ag issues well. And so he's been on the committee for a while. Now that Republicans are in control, there's no better person I would want as ag committee chair than John Boozman.
Yeah. All right. Senator Tom Cotton, number 3 in leadership in the GOP conference. And then because Marco Rubio is expected to be tapped for Secretary of State, you've got Tom Cotton is going to be chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, which is it is high profile. You don't know as much that goes on publicly, but that is a big forum that he's gonna be standing on.
Yeah, I mean, he replaces outgoing Democratic Senator Mark Warner. And Tom Cotton, whereas, John Boozman is known for his constituent services, known for his outreach, his engagement, and the way he, really focused on kind of the servant part of public leadership. Tom Cotton has always come from more of the academic approach to legislating. He's got a very, strong vision on foreign policy that has aligned with, the President Trump's. I think he'll be a staunch ally for President Trump in his, America First foreign policy engagement. Keep in mind, the intelligence chairman is a very big deal. It's the gang of 8. So anytime the president incurs or starts a foreign incursion or, it triggers a notification to Congress, Tom Cotton is part of the gang of 8 now. He's one of the ones that will be notified immediately before the action takes place. So, you've got, it's a pretty big role. And he is a very smart, very intelligent, very aware legislator. I have strong disagreements with Tom Cotton on a lot of things, but I do think in this role, he will be a great ally for President Trump on the Hill. What will he stand up to President Trump when it's something that Senator Cotton disagrees with? I don't know. That will be an interesting predicament for the incoming chairman.
Well, Senator Cotton told me in an interview one time it was his idea for the U.S. to acquire Greenland. So I think he and Donald Trump are on the same page there. I don't know if the Canadian acquisition is Cotton's.
Acquisition is an interesting term there, Roby. I don't think it's a merger.
Yes. All right. Congressman French Hill is going to be leading the House Financial Services Committee. And again, another very influential and powerful committee as it deals with banking, regulatory issues, financial issues. This is a big deal too. And Congressman Hill is very well respected, not only from Republicans, but as well as with Democrats in Congress.
Yeah, I think this is the one, agriculture obviously is going to impact a lot of Arkansans, but financial services impacts nearly every American in everything they do, from banking to lending to credit cards, et cetera. They kind of have the policy and the jurisdiction of, writing legislation around those issues. And all of those have to go through his committee now. And the Republicans have campaigned on, maintaining regular order. So he's going to have an influence on pretty much everything related to financials that you can think of, including cryptocurrency and Bitcoin type legislation, if those move at all. As we know, that's something Elon Musk and Donald Trump are very interested in. And French Hill is, if you, he's a very serious legislator, very deliberate. He's not one to grab headlines a lot. He puts his nose down. He works hard. And we worked with him a lot when I was chief of staff to Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy, a Democrat out of Florida. We did a lot of work together on the Entrepreneurs Caucus, trying to pave the way for small business owners and entrepreneurs to grow their businesses and to start one. And we did a lot of good work together. So he's also a very collaborative leader. I'm excited to see him there as well.
All right. Lastly, Congressman Bruce Westerman from the 4th Congressional District, where you used to work in that office as well. He is still going to lead the Natural Resources Committee. It's got some other titles that it goes along with that there, but he's been in that position already and is influential on forestry issues as well as some other things related to tourism, which again is another big component of Arkansas's economy.
Yeah, keep in mind, I know the 4th District all too well. Having worked for Mike Ross, who would do a round of town halls in all 34 counties twice a year. So I know the issues well, everything from timber to fish and wildlife to national parks. You look at Hot Springs. He has a role in overseeing those federal lands, overseeing any kind of minerals that are in the ground. And as you mentioned, like fish and wildlife, huge industry in Arkansas as well. So, it's almost like you pull down the list of boxes we got to check to protect Arkansas's interest, and we're literally checking almost all of them. You look at say Walmart and Tyson and Stevens, they've got to be excited to have French Hill, there at Financial Services. And you look at everyone in South Arkansas have got to be thrilled at, Bruce Westerman here. And then of course, Bozeman's just, it covers the entire state with ag. So, there's a lot going on here we're punching above our weight as a small state. It reminds me back of where Democrats were back in the era of Dale Bumpers and Mark Pryor and Fulbright, when, and Wilbur Mills, who still to this day is the longest serving chair of the House Ways and Means Committee, and, from our alma mater at Hendrix. But, so there's still a lot of, we're going back to those days of, there are some advantages to a small state where a lot of the values are aligned with the electorate. And, while there is one party rule essentially in Arkansas at the moment, values wise, there's not a lot of difference in the type of Republicans that are in Arkansas, and that helps. And so what this does is increase Arkansas's clout. And if you're playing the chess game of politics, I do think in the long run, someone like Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who may be exploring a run for president one day, that clout will matter in a Republican primary. And so this is setting the stage, I think, to really position her nicely should she decide to run for if pending Donald Trump doesn't run for a third term. Right. She can do that. So